Hey guys, how you doing? How you guys doing? Let's do it to it. Let's give it a go. Give it a go. We'll say, let's do this thing today. Come on, work with me. There we go. A little bit of lag tonight. Let's give it a go. Alright. Let's give it a go. Okay. Just seeing if we can. Come on. Why isn't it wanting to do it? Let's just do it. We'll do that first player. Trying to see. I'm trying to think if I can't use any of our model today of play. This is not good. Why isn't it responding? Okay, there we go. So if I'm thinking if I castle, he's going to play queen takes, and then see, and then he could take after I play here. Come on, don't tell me. What's going on now? Let's quit lagging on me. So if I castle, he takes. I play rook there. He could take there. Then do I win the queen? Yeah, I'm gonna give it a go. I calculated it all out. It should work. I'm trying to use our principal. I'm trying to see if I can't trap his. I missed something somewhere. I want to go back and see, because I know I had a move here. I don't really much mind if I won or lost on this. I wanted to try out this, because it's, you know what, it's all about learning. Let me see here. Okay, when I castled, he played here, so this was a mistake. Trying to figure out, let's see, there. So I got that all right. Okay, so we'll give that one more shot. We'll give it one more shot. That was kind of fun to, and it wasn't fun to lose, but it was fun kind of to try out that idea that we played. I think I set it up incorrectly, but you know what? It's all about learning. That's the whole thing. And it's not rated, so that's a good thing. So you should learn from these. Let's face that guy, so I don't have to waste time. Come on. Play a little more solid here. Let's see if I can't get in a... I'm going to go h3. Okay, h3 next. And then I'm going to retreat back if he plays e5. Let's see. I think that tactic works, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Okay, dokie. He can't play there now because he'll lose a queen. So this is a really strong move. Ooh, nice. Boom, baby. Okay. Let's see. I just want to go over this, then we'll get into our London system. Okay, let's see. How did we do here? Wham. So I did good all the way through. So far, so good. And then if he takes here, I grab the pawn there, yeah. And it's basically KO. I'm up a whole exchange. Okay, let's get on to our London system. Yeah. Let's have some fun. Do do do, do do do. And let's do the London system for you and me. Boom, boom. Oops, sorry about that. Got to, yeah. Sorry about that, guys. Forgot to do this. Hey. Sorry about that, Fox, guys. And, forgot to pull this thing up here. I got in the zone. Yeah. Well, you know what? Oh, it's Bobby Fischer? Okay, let's take a look at this game. You have a Lila game? Okay. Alrighty. Let's do it to it. And then we'll do our London. I think we can get a couple puzzles in too. Alright, let's see, what do we got here? What do we got? Yeah, I tried out on one of the things, the trying to trap the queen, but I think I played it incorrectly. I'm still learning in the London system. There's a way to lure the queen in so that you can trap her. I still got to work on that, but I'm learning, and we're getting there. So e4, so yeah. Well, you know what? It's the Lord gave me the ability for better, communication. So I enjoy chess and teaching, and I want to teach you guys. See, castles. Oh yeah, Bobby Fischer loved the King's Indian. Let's see here. E3, E5. Okay, so oops, gotta turn off the engine. We don't want any engine help. One sec, guys. We don't want any engine help because we're all about, we have to figure this out for us because you're not going to have the engine at the board with you. C7. Let's see here. Knight to B1. Okay, because there's really no hope of that. So what's probably going to happen is the engine sees that the B5 pawn, B5 square is perfect. There we go. Gotta give you guys a little bit more so I can see what you're all talking about. So this is kind of that idea. Boom, boom. So the rook slides over, and now we can lock down. If we can lock down the position, we win. And there we go. See, what did we talk about? You lock down the center, you bring the knight in, and yeah, now we also have another outpost if we ever wanted to. Let's say this bishop gets knocked off the board. We now have the ability of dropping in our knight to d6. So this e5 pawn move is really a good move. First of all, the knight attacks the queen, and then later on d6 could be, knight d6 could be a plan. So queen d7 and h. So now that the position's pretty much locked on the queen side, white stakes a little bit of claim on the king side, so that potentially with g5, pawn g5, you have the ability to take, and then takes, and you have the king open. I noticed that the learning engine that we do games on likes a kingside attack at a certain point. So we should actually learn from this, that at a certain point when the position's locked down like that, it's okay to kind of expand slightly on the king side. It kind of puts a little bit of pressure on your opponent, and you never know, they might make a very inferior move, and it'll end up being a move you could take advantage of, and then take that small advantage over time and build it up to maybe winning a piece or something like that. So knight g6, and now the position's locked down almost. If takes here, which would be a horrible move, we can just take back. Now this is a beautiful French defense. This is what white would love as a French player. Black would despise this type of a setup, because this his whole idea in the French is to go c5 and at the right moment break the d4 pawn, which is the base pawn of white. And so his number one break is gone, which is the c5, the c pawn. So he only has a break on f6, and so that's not to his likings, because this isn't what basically black would want. This would kind of be a sad for black. In my opinion, black's almost lost with this type of a setup. Because how you gonna undermine the d4 pawn? It's gonna be a long time before black can get any compensation. White has space advantage in the center, cramping on the king side, no weaknesses on the queen side, so white's operation gung-ho all the way. and that's why b6 was played, because the other engine wants to make sure that it has flexible move, which the flexible move potentially would be bishop to b7, so that maybe at the right moment you can actually play bishop to c6 and trade off the knight, because we're heading towards more of a closed game. And so that's kind of the idea. That is the whole move sequence that you have to keep in mind. Why did my opponent play that? You have to kind of think, what's the idea? And so the bishop just retreats back, because now at the right moment, rather than a knight being implanted on b5, the bishop could actually come to b5, and this would be more of an effective piece. So you could play knight a3, and if this knight moves somewhere, we don't really much mind, because we can actually go there. Or he might try something like that. No, that wouldn't work. Well, maybe that would. If we played a3, he could play knight to a7, but then we just lock down with b3, and I think we'd be okay at this point. Yeah, so a6, the knight's pinned now. Bishop d. Now you get to see kind of the plan. Now what the bishop can't really land here because of this pin, but the knight's really well fortified. So potentially we have queen to c2 now, with bishop takes g6, and then after the pawn takes back, the queen will take back. And I don't know, do we have enough? We do have enough compensation, because we could just play bishop takes at that point, because the queen pins the pawn. So I think we'd be up a whole pawn in that line. I think we'd be good. I like that move, queen c2. We have to keep that in mind. Oh, it did queen e2. Huh. I guess you have to do that now that I think about it. Well, there's only one slight sitch. If you take there, let's see here, knight takes. Whoa, boy. I guess you could just take there, couldn't you? And then after pawn takes, knight takes, and if rook takes, now the position's all closed up. We could play queen to c2 and take scope on g6. So then queen would actually have to retreat back to e1. Very interesting position. I'd say about equal here. So nice. So it just shifts. Okay. King comes up. Now we can we only have to get this bishop out of the way, and we're entering the middle game. I really prefer white here. I like white's game. White has a really strong position. One second, let me get a drink of water. We'll get right back into this. Okay, now we're protecting the. So we got these rooks connected now, and now the learning engine can actually play g4, maybe with a rook to g1, g4, or maybe rook g1, king to h2, then maybe then g4, g5. I'm thinking maybe just g4, g5 right away, because black is so cramped that it's not going to matter very much what he plays here. Yep, there we go, g4. And wham, there goes g5. And you know what? No mercy, no mercy. Bang. You gotta love that. And then h6. Oh, sweet. You gotta love this, because when it takes, if he takes here, he's in a world of hurt. Wham. Look at that. Everything is infiltrating in. If he plays there, bang. Yes, you have that, so we have to be careful here. Maybe instead of moving that, maybe we could just play here. I kind of like that, because if he plays there, you gotta check. Tries that, you go there. You just win that. Yeah, so he's in a world of hurt at this point if he tries to take. So he takes the knight, pawn takes. Now this knight is very ugly. G6. Okay, let's give it a shot. F4. Oh, F4. Oh, gotcha. I gotcha. So if takes, then rook AF. Okay. And if he tries to say a do, we say not gonna happen. I don't know. Do we like that? I'm kind of liking king to F F3. Let's say knight takes, our bishop takes, pawn takes. If there. I'd probably just retreat back. He'd grab our pawn, but then we have the potential for a rook. If queen comes over. Kind of like bishop here. This wins a piece if I'm not mistaken. So that takes, so we take there, in between move, and then we pick off a pawn. Yeah, we'd be up a whole piece at that line. Yeah, that would be an interesting move, Fox. Exactly. I don't know if rook to F1 at this point would actually be. Let's see here. Well, I guess it could. It could be good. Well, because then you could take maybe. Let me see. Yeah, and then if he tries to run here, yeah, ouch, that would be a pain in the drain, wouldn't it? So he'd probably have to bring his rook up. Whoa, ouch. Not fun. Not fun at all. Wow. Yeah, that is killer. Yep, that is totally destruction right there. Yikes. Yikes, yikes. So he's probably going to have to bring his other rook over then when you slam that down. So his king has to come over. Bring our king up. Maybe that is a way to hold. Kind of like that. I know this is a crazy move here. I kind of like this move. And if he takes there, he can take. He can't take here because we'll pick up a rook. So he's gonna have to. Well, maybe. No, that's a bad move. Yikes! He's stuck here. What's he gonna do now? Wow. Maybe rook, something rook like that. Kind of see we can win another pawn. Rook h4. Huh. At this point? Oh, before g6. Gotcha. Okay, instead of g6. Okay, I see what you're saying. Rook h4 would be a good. Yeah, that would be interesting because now he could play here. Then we could play that. Do we have anything though? Well, I do like that move there, and we do pick up a piece. So he'd have to take here, and we'd take back, and then ouch. Yeah, that'd be a sad state of affair, yeah. And you have to take there, and you'd be up a whole piece, and you'd have to play something like that. Boom. So yeah, I see why you decided to play rook to g oops, wrong one. Instead of rook g. Hold on. Hold on. I now understand why you did that. That's a good idea. Nice idea there. Okay. Wow, the other engine's trying to win. It's kind of interesting if you'd played there. I think it'd want to trade off at that point. we have a check there. I think it'd potentially be a draw here. Yeah. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think it wanted a draw. Yeah, because it did not want this to come to pass here. Oops. Rather than the knight move, it didn't want this, because then you'd have a problem with like no other problem. So then first you can just whip off. Boom. That's why it can't take. Nice. I like that. That is so good. Yeah, because this is not a very attractive move here. No. So we would first potentially play there. I like that. I like this move here. And then maybe we got that. Then you can win here. And so maybe rather than bishop takes, rook takes is best, because then he's got that. Hold on. Ah, that's silly of me. There's mate right there. Duh. There's mate. Get rid of all this. What was all that stuff? That's mate, baby. You gotta love it. Wham. I think it gets closer. I kind of see now why it didn't do that. Yeah, it would lose the ability for the... There we go. There's no way to stop. This is coming to pass down here. And sorry, he's gonna have to not d5. Get rid of that. Let's just say up here. Now you just bring, like my teacher taught me, you just bring your pieces together. Especially when you have 3 pawns. Man, oh man, do you have such a wonderful position. And then now you just, what you do is you just trade off. Boom. There you go. You check and you win. Nice game. We gotta now. We have to get back. That was really a fun game. Good. That was a good game. That was fun. This right here is if it's slightly committal. It's slightly you're telling your opponent what you want him to do. Which, if you're kind of afraid in a London system of playing a c4, this is kind of what a London player would play, as the c3. If you just like the c3 pawn move. So let's see, d4, castles, castles. Okay, 1 second. Okay. Black has a better move than what he actually played here. There's c takes d. Oops, sorry. C takes d, which gets an exclam mark for the move, because then d takes c. A3 exclam, because you're wanting to play here and then take advantage of this outpost. Let's see, 3. But if you played this, wait a second. What did I? Oops, I went a little too far. This is the wrong move. My bad. Sorry. Okay. It's white to play. That's why. Yeah, that makes more sense. This is an exclam here. I went a little too far. Takes, and then A3. I had A7, A6. I don't know what I was thinking there. Now this is an exclam idea, because now we have a point of entry here and these 2 points. That makes more sense. Here, if knight c6, which is what was played, you can castle h5. Sorry, h5. Let's see what we got here. Okay, g5, h6, bishop h4. And we remember, don't we remember, guys, what happens if we play this? What do we play? Remember. What do we play for, we have to remember what we play. We can actually play back here. Knight to e1. Remember that? And then this move gets an exclam. And if bishop takes, pawn takes, bishop takes. Yeah. And now you get a fractured pawn structure for black, like this. And we have to always remember that when you castle, if he pushes like this, remember there's always that little bitty exclam idea, knight to e1. And even after the queen trades, bishop trades, pawn trades, the bishop comes back and grabs the knight. Yeah, knight e1. And if takes here, you just take, and if queen takes, you can either decide to take with the rook, which I'd probably take with the rook at that point. Yeah. So this wasn't played. I just wanted to show you if black got a little too aggressive, how to handle that aggression. It goes back to the Grunfeld idea. If he gets a little too spunky and plays G5, we surprise him with the greatest surprise of his life. Knight to E1. He's like, "What did I just open?" And you're like, "Yep, you opened time for us to defeat you." Let's see here. H6, G2. Okay, knight D. What did I? H6, H4, G. Oh, he did play G5. That little guy. Oh, you can actually play that. Okay, so this move is playable. Yeah, if he takes here, of course, you guys see, now we don't even lose the... Okay, I gotta remember that was the exclam idea. Snap. He just retreated his knight back. And then we retreat our bishop, and we've accomplished one thing. We provoked the G5 weakness, and remember, our whole idea is honing on this pawn here the entire game. we start seeing if we can't hack away at it with h5, our not h5, h4, our g4. We start like pecking at it with a pick. We pick till the foundation collapses, and this is his weak point. Now we just gotta take scope on it, keep going pew 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 like in Star Wars with those little pistols till the foundation breaks. Okie dokie. Okay, e6. Trying to get the bishop out. Not trying, but did get the bishop out. Then queen c2, and it's like we are ready to rumble. And now our pawns our rooks are connected. Middle game is here, and we're like, let's do it to it. And he has nothing to show for it. Here, white has two advantages in his position. Black has been introduced with a weakness on g5 when we talked about the king side, and no compensation for this weakness. 2, it isn't clear where black's queen should go, so white will have a knight to arise on either it can go to b1 after here or there. The knight could go to one of these 2 points, and then the other knight from d2 can go to b1 and same implement position where it can help the other one out. So that's kind of the idea. So white's trumps are g5 and these 2 weak points, c4 and b5. So we accomplished a lot, and black has no compensation for the g5 push. It's actually a bad move, very bad. Okie dokie, let's continue onward with our move sequence. So castles, knight to c6. We played, let me see, c6, d5. Excuse me. There's also, rather than d5, this is an interesting move. It's kind of more of a lockdown move. You have the potential, the following what Ashley Kasparov played. Played the knight bd2, and his idea was if c takes d, e takes d, because remember we want to, wherever our pawns are pointing or where we're going to want to attack. So let me see. Okay, knight to h. This is an interesting move, sitch. It's kind of like, because then bishop could just drop back. You wouldn't want to drop back at that point. That'd be a dubious move. This makes the knight look very silly, that move. f5, which is again a little bit too, in my opinion, overextending in the position. c4 is playable here if he played c4, and then d5. It's like, wait, you just left a whole spot open for me, and this is a dubious move. So it's even worse than an interesting move. It's dubious. Okay, let's see here. Let me make sure I got my notes. I'm just making sure my notes are, I'm at the right note part. Let's see, there he played the E. Yeah, I'm right at the right note. Sometimes I have to find my notepad. C to, let's see, C to E. All right, there we go. Gotcha. The knight just retreats back. Queen to c1. This gets an exclam mark because you're planning on going bishop to h6 and exchanging off the bishop for the g bishop, which then these 2 points will be weak, and we can take scope on them. We can set up our snipers, which are our 2 bishops. So g4 is playable. f4. G takes e. Knight takes e. Knight takes e, and then d takes e. We've accomplished a very big cramping position. This pawn really causes black some headaches, because where can the dark square bishop go to? It only has these 2 points, so very ugly bishop. Very, very ugly. Okay, takes. Okay, good. Bishop e. Okay, queen to e3. Queen c7, trying to take scope on the pawn, and then h4, wham. That h4 is big. Kasparov actually slowly in this position squeezed his opponent like a boa constrictor, and his opponent basically made some mistakes and just lost the game. So that's another idea. If you don't like playing d5, you can always play knight bd2. You don't have to be so not concrete. You don't have to be so straightforward with your moves. You don't have to lock the position down. You can keep it. What I'm trying to say is flexibility. You can keep it more flexible by knight bd2. I figure if Kasparov does it, there's a reason. He's done his studies. Okay, knight to e5, which and that's also kind of why it's a bad idea, is because it gives away e5 too. e5, so the knight comes in, knight takes, pawn takes, and then bishop takes, queen takes, knight takes, bishop takes, and then king takes. And here, because the position is drawn, really it's gotten down to almost a drawn position. Nobody has any weaknesses, not even white, not even black. Nobody would blame the players at this point if they decided to take a draw, but white wanted to play on, and good thing white did, because black played some inferior moves, and in the end game white basically demonstrated why endgame study is important. So rook d1, d6. But with proper play in Grandmasters, this should be a draw. But remember, they're human too, so they make inaccurate moves. And now that was a dubious move. There is no reason for that move, not one reason. That set up for e4. That comes back. e5 was a blunder by white. He should have waited for a second and played the correct f4 exclam move, because this would have allowed for some more flexible ideas. There's no real reason to lock down and make it so that your opponent can jump back in. You don't want to do that. So, but thanks that black didn't see white's kind of mistake. Black should have actually put his pawn right on in here, and it could have taken advantage of it. Black missed his. He played here. Black missed the idea of taking advantage of it by playing h6 to kick the knight out. See, this would have given black an exclam idea, because it's making the idea for later on the knight has to flee. This gives black some play on the king side. So rather than knight to f3, the knight went to e4. It kind of looks like, wait a second, doesn't this help white? Not really, because then g5 is playable, and this gets an exclam, because now you have one thing that your opponent doesn't have. Your pawns are on the opposite color of white's bishop, so black does have, now instead of he had like 4 pawns on white, light squares, now he only has 2. So it's it all comes down to light square weaknesses later on in the game. So the rook moves to e1 because we don't want to trade off. We kind of want to keep this g6, knight g6, and we can actually play knight to f4. G6, okay, alright, g3, g3, because now the pawn's being protected. d2 now it's white at this point because of the knight infiltration to d2. It's white who's actually playing for a draw. So if black had seen, instead of back here, instead of knight to e6, if he had seen h6, it would have been black who is pushing the position. But black reacted, so too bad for that move, huh? Takes, and then okay, takes. Hold on, let me see. Did I? Okay. Now suddenly it is so it is not so equal here. If you notice, before it was an equal game with all this stuff. This is not an equal anymore. White has accomplished 5 advantages here. A space advantage with his e5 pawn. That's number 1. Number 2, the king side pawns are fixed and on the same color as the light squared bishop. 4 out of the 7 are. Number 3, white's king can enter the center at any time he wants, because it can enter, because of f4, it can enter on the dark squares once the knights get traded off. And number 4, minor pieces for black are passive. So black's minor pieces are passive, white's minor pieces are the most active they can be at this moment. They could be more active, I guess, but this bishop is doing a wonderful job. And number 5, black's queenside pawns are not secure as they look. So these pawns here are not secure. They can be easily poked or picked on by a4, a5, and then we can bring our knight over and gobble these pawns up if we decide to trade the bishops off. And the pawns get stuck here. This knight could come over and munch to its heart's desire. Okay, h5. Black wanted to potentially play black didn't want white to potentially play g4 and potentially g5. This would be a cramping move, so white thought h5 would be a wonderful idea to do. But the problem is, it's like you're putting all the pawns on the light squares. What are you doing? What if these knights get pulled off the board? What are you going to do with this? It's just not good for black. Not at all. Bishop comes, so the knight comes in now. And this point, this is a really strong. Let me see. Where am I at? Oh, this is the intent. With the intent to play after bishop takes. This is what would happen. His intent would be to play knight to c8 and basically win this pawn, because this pawn is fixed. The a pawn's fixed if the bishop was to take. So the bishop can't take. It has to retreat back. g3. So what we do here is we just cement our position. We don't allow any weaknesses in our position. So king to f8, king f2. Now we're bringing the king in, and then bishop to a8, which is very bad, very bad. You don't want to move. You want to get. What he should have played is this. I'll show you. e5, bishop, king comes in, king f8. Kind of having to pass the move. b4 to kind of undermine the position. C takes b4, c takes b4, knight, king comes in. Really, the king can't really get entrance come in because this is guarded, so, and that's guarded. So it's like, what do you do? Then king d4 with the ability later on for white to play a5 and then undermine the structure. We don't want to take this bishop because all of white's pieces are black's pieces are passive. So this is not very fun because once this gets traded off, the king can actually start coming into the fight for white. So yeah, he made a bad move and played, and then white just pounced on the opportunity to play knight to c5. I mean c8. Now there, bishop takes, and then boom. Now white's up a whole pawn. The position's locked. Yes, black can win a4, but c8 is knight c8 with the idea of going to d6, and this is a really strong outpost. Really, really, really strong. Let's see here. Let's go back. Actually, there's a potential move that if white wanted to hold the position, he has b3 rather than the pawn. Then bishop d7. Knight takes. You can win the pawn, but I'm not sure if that's enough compensation, because I think it might come down to a draw, because now the knight's trapped, so the knight's going to have to come to b5, and then the bishop will take, pawn takes, and now we're kind of locked up a little bit. So it's not to black's, it's not to save that pawn, just to, you know, win a pawn. Let's see here, where am I at now? Okay, I c8, b5, d6 check, king d7. There's also a mistake for black would have been to have played king to e7. This is actually a mistake because let me see, king e7. Let me see where my notes say. All right, e4. Now we're eyeing the pawn here. So c4. Now it's on. It's trapped the bishop, and the king just comes d4. Bishop c. Knight d6. Smooth sailing for the knight to come crashing through, and then c. And now this pawn's gonna fall. This pawn will fall. All the pawns will fall, and we'll have two passers. So it'd be something like king comes over, knight takes, and if that, and then now you have this. So that's kind of why it's losing here for black. So knight checks. That's why the king went to d7, kind of to get his king over here. So we picked up a pawn, takes, and now if you notice, all of white's pawns are on the opposite color of the bishop. So he's in a big time pickle. And also what this does is it completely shuts out the king with, and there's this idea here. Let's see if c takes, let me see. Okay, if this is what they're saying. See, and then knight d2, d8. This actually gets an exclam mark. He has to come back. Knight b7. And we're slowly getting out. So takes, pawn takes, c takes, and then king c6, knight d6, bishop b1. Let's see. I'm making sure I have my notes put in right. Hold on. Okay. C takes D. C6. D. Okay. King D4. And if you're kind of wondering why doesn't he, move after here, King D7. If not King D7, but King D5, this is kind of what'll happen. B takes C, and you actually win a whole nother pawn, because this is what'll come to pass. Then you just move your king down, and you won a pawn. You have he only has 3 and you have 5, so this is not working too well for our opponent. This is kind of like a nightmare for him. And at this point, what a nightmare for black. This is what the author says. Every single pawn on the board is on the wrong color for the bishop. So all of white's pawns are on the wrong color for the bishop to attack. And so we have the king sheltered out, so all the pawns on the board are on the wrong color for the bishop. White's king will enter the dark squares on the king's side. Talk about a bad bishop. That's what he says. This is a very bad bishop. So eventually the king's going to have to give way and allow our king in. Our knight can jump on dark squares and on light squares. It can jump on both. So we're operation good, and he's horrible because bishops can't jump to opposite colors like knights can. So he's in a world of hurt. He's in a pickle. So we jump in there because we're attacking. Because if he stayed there and let's say he moved his king up here, right? We could take, and then if he takes here, we just infiltrate in, and it's too late. We win a pawn. Comes over, we push. And then we just gobble all of his pawns. So he can't do that. So D6. So knight D6. Bishop H. Okay, king was back, and basically the bishop is stunted, and now the king's going to try to enter and try to pry open this, and this is covered, that's covered, that's covered, so there's no entry point for black's king. So takes, we just take, and if the bishop was to take here, this is actually losing because we can, let's see here, I think we can potentially come up. Yeah, and then I think we can come up, and then if he comes over, and it's one move too late. We stop it. So he can't trade on that. I'll just leave this here because that's an interesting line. Yeah. So we check. King moves and D7. Hold on, hold on, right back here, my bad. Instead of D7, there's actually 2 lines that I have down on my list. There's knight to C5. Where in the world? How do you get to, hold on, let me make sure I got this right. It takes knight D5, not C5. I don't know why I thought C5. This is actually a mistake. because you have knight to e3. And if king d4, we actually grab the bishop. And if g takes, we have a passed pawn that's going to run up the board. We play like that, and it runs up the board. And then if bishop takes, king takes, d5, g, c4, g takes, b takes, and then f5, and hold on, where my king takes before? Hold on, let me see. Okay, g6, king takes b4. Oh yeah, f5. There we go. And then of course we worked it out. This is actually where the book stops. So we actually worked out the whole book line correctly. Good job, guys. Okay, so we're almost to the end, and then we'll do like one puzzle, and then I gotta log off. This has been a little bit longer of one, but I gotta tell you, it's so worth going over these. That's why I go over and like write notes down. Coming in, and he comes there. Knight check. And if you notice one thing, there's no way for the bishop to get back to get this pawn. So all the knight does is just hop, 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 hop around, and then we're going to pick up this pawn. And if the bishop tries going to d3, of course that pawn will fall. So one of the pawns are going to fall. And rather than enduring that humiliation of basically getting, crunched, black just decided to resign. So let's go back to move 13 in summary, and then we'll do move 13 right here. In my experience, it is white who has all the chance in such a dead drawn endgame arising after rook to d1. So white has all the chances for winning when white plays rook to d1. This is here, it's white that has all the chances. So just remember that when you get to this position. Okay, we'll do one or two puzzles. I'll see how long it takes us to do the puzzles, and then we might be able to do two, but I know we'll be able to do one. So, because we have to do at least one puzzle a day, we have to, because it's good for our mind. We should do games, but you gotta do puzzles too. That's good water. Okay, so bishop takes g h3. Thinking that's one thing I was looking at too. I was looking at if we play bishop takes h3, he can't play rook takes because queen takes. This is also check, by the way, too. So we pick up a whole piece, and after the king moves, we could just pick up the queen, I believe. And are we up in exchange at that point? The king would have to take back. He can't actually do after bishop. He can't do rook hg8 because it's actually a check. It's bishop takes h3 check. Because of here. pretty sure that's the first move. I really don't see any. I think what he might play is if we play bishop takes h3 check, he might play knight takes, not knight, knight d7. Then we could play bishop takes d7, queen takes d7, queen takes d7 check, king takes d7, and then what do we want to take with, like e takes d5? Maybe that's an interesting idea. I'm not sure which pawn we want to take. Oh, true, we could do that too. We could do the instead of bishop takes, we could switch it around. Yeah, he did play king b8. I'm trying to see, what do we do? Because after we play queen takes c7 check, king takes c7, where do we move our bishop at this point? Kind of wondering if we don't play bishop to kind of wondering if we don't play bishop h6, then if queen takes g7, bishop takes g7 fork. So what you're saying is queen takes, king takes, bishop g2, knight takes e, bishop takes e4, pawn takes hey. What do you think about the bishop? Well, what you do is you take the queen at this point here. Queen takes c7 check. Oh. King takes c7, and then bishop takes f8. Hey, how you doing? See, it would be if here, knight there, queen takes, king takes, and then bishop takes, rook. Then if he tries to take our rook here, we take his knight, and boom, we're doing so good. Because I really don't, I'm not, let's see, I really don't. Let's see here. Because I really don't see, like what you're saying, if we accomplish much. Yeah, it's just sometimes you need a little bit of hydration, that's for sure. A little bit of hydration. Try to see, do we accomplish anything? Let's see here. I'm just trying to I'm just gonna take a little check, like what you're saying, and then if knight takes, bishop takes, pawn takes, rook takes. Oops, we get a little check here on h1. Yeah, so I think, yeah. So I'm thinking it's that. Oh, you're kidding me. Wow. Why doesn't, let me see here. Why doesn't that work? Oh, okay. The queen can just move back. So if you take there, and yeah, we talked, if you play here, he can just take with the knight, and then a bishop takes, pawn takes. We have to move the king. So I think we're okay, yeah. Huh. Okay, we'll do one more, and then I gotta log off because we gotta end on a positive. That I guess I over thought that we should have just taken and then moved our yeah. Yeah, I saw. It's okay. Hey, you know what? I'm glad you guys comment. That's cool. As long as it's about chess, that's what matters. That's what the channel's about. So we have to keep it all chess, and about like our tactics. So when we're doing tactics, we gotta keep our minds on the tactics, because we're trying to learn and get better. That's the whole point. Yeah. We go here. Let me see. No, just we're to do okay. Yikesies, yikesies. Because I can only do this one. We gotta solve this right. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah. Thinking it's knight to e2, but I'm not exactly sure. But knight e2. The queen may be able to retreat back to c4. The queen could retreat back to c4, so I don't... Do we really accomplish anything with that? We may be able to win a pawn. Maybe if we win a pawn here. I don't know. I think you could take with the bishop at that point. The queen takes. Yeah, that I don't know if that would turn out okay. But I think if we oh, gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. I did not see that. Good find there, Fox. That was a excellent find, because if we play back here, bishop to e3, and that's basically the nail in the coffin for black. So it has to be knight to e2 then. That seals everything up, yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure about that. Let's go with knight e2. Yeah, exactly. Let's see, if we take there, we take there, and then we take his knight, so I think that's it. Okay. Wow, it usually stops at this point. What to do, what to do. Knight g3. Gotta make sure that... Do we have any... Let's see. It does look sensible, because knight g3, because that frees up the rook, and also if this rook comes sliding down here, we can always play our rook. We can play our rook down, and if then the rook trades, the knight trades, and we're up in exchange at that point. Yeah. Yeah, I really don't see... Let me see. Is there anything else that could be played? No, I really don't see anything else. And also blocks, wow, that has a lot of ideas. It blocks this. So the bishop issue is gone. Oh. Yikes. That's okay. Why doesn't this work? Let me see. Oh, okay. Can't we just play there? Oh. Oh, ouch. That's okay. We'll pick up here. You know what? Some days a diamond, some days a stone. Do you guys have any questions? So after here, rook here. Why not bishop? I'll check king g1. We have a pin at that point. You guys have any other moves you want to do before I log off? Yeah, so you're kind of like up a creek without a paddle. The bishop has to retreat, and then I think the rook's trapped at that point. Oh, nice. We get a fork. Now the rooks are going to double, and we're operation to go. So if he plays here, you get your king evolved. That's probably best now that we think about it. And if he plays here, you take. Yeah. You guys have any more lines you want to look at? So, are you guys good? Okay, you know what? You know what? That's an area that we need to work on. You know what? Nakamura, he had a game one time that he had like 3 passed pawns against him, but he was up 2 minor pieces and he had a pawn, and he was able to stop him. Yeah. Yeah, like back here. But remember, you have two targets. You have a bishop and a pawn. So don't worry. Oh yeah. So well, if you guys don't have anything, if you guys have no more lines, I will say adieu. Do you guys have any more lines? All right, perfect. Well, guys, I gotta tell you, it's okay. We'll get it back. Remember, we gotta study to get better, and you know what? That's the whole thing. Study to be proved. You know what I mean? That's what the Lord says. We gotta study always. We gotta be in season and out of season. So keep that in mind when you get scared of like pawn pushes. Think of what we studied tonight. Then you won't have that fear of how to handle it. And remember, like what Bruce Lee said, knowing is not enough. You must apply. Willing is not enough. You must do. That's kind of what we have to do. You know, we have to always keep that in mind. We got to be willing. We got to do, and we got to apply. And we got to know, or know that we got to apply. Like Hannibal Smith said, you're the one that's got to be the one to push the position and keep pushing it till the end. Sometimes if you retreat, make sure your retreat benefits you. And you know what? Just keep pushing forward. That's the whole thing. Learn from your mistakes. And like Bobby said, it's another game. It's another learning lesson. Okay, I'll leave you guys with that. As Wesley So says, through the Lord Jesus, as I say, God bless, and I'll see you guys next time on Chess Cruncher TV. Have a blessed morning, afternoon, and evening, and be blessed, guys. I'll be back on, Lord willing, tomorrow, and we'll go over some more puzzles, some more studies, puzzles, and maybe a game or two, and we'll just keep getting better. So be cool, guys. You guys did good. Oops, great job. Okay, be blessed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.